Hi, welcome to Life Expressions. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon. Today is very special, and this is going to be a series with my very good friends, Azim Jamal and Farzana Kherani. Both of them I consider my mentors because of the Igniters Spark Masterclass that I have attended under Azim and, of course, with Farzana as our teammate in doing the succeeding series, or shall I say webinars for Igniters Spark Masterclass. Welcome to the show, Azim and Farzana.
Thank you, Charie.
Thank you, Charie.
Yeah, so how does it feel to have this podcast in person?
It's great. I think, the more deeper we go into the Spark framework, the more you realize it's like an ocean.
Yeah, wow, it's like an ocean. That is deep, certainly. How about you, Farzana?
I am actually looking forward to learning in person after a long time. The master class we did virtually, and here we are doing webinars in person. So this is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I'm so excited that today we're going to talk about resilience. So when you think about the word resilience, what comes to mind immediately, Farzana?
Practice.
Practice.
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
Absolutely. So with resilience, it's not something that you just do. You have to practice this to be able to understand it, to be able to know that there's this ability to cope in a way that you're allowed to have emotion, but you're moving forward. You're not staying in that same space. So you're practicing to move forward, taking one step at a time.
Yeah, that is great. For myself, I think resilience is your ability to bounce back, to recover from a difficulty or from hardship. And you, Azim?
Yeah, I think both of you are absolutely right. I think resilience is not theory. It's when stuff happens, when a catastrophe happens, how do you go about it? That's where the rubber meets the road, right? In terms of reality. So I think it's all of that. I think we talked about in the masterclass, the inverse paranoia mentality. Instead of getting paranoid, we become inverse paranoia. So we go the opposite. We talked about the positive mental attitude instead of the negative mental attitude, the PMA versus the NMA. And then, of course, what you said, Charie, about bouncing back bigger and stronger. So initially, how you process the event, what kind of mindset you go with, the PMA versus NMA, and then how do you use that experience to learn from it and then use it as a trigger to bounce back bigger and stronger by saying, watch me now.
Yeah, wow. Was there a moment in your life when you thought, wow, my resilience is being tested?
Oh, absolutely. I think that happens on a daily basis.
Yeah.
When you really think about your day to day, right? You wake up in the morning with a plan.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that changed.
Yes.
Right? Prime example, last week, we're meeting together and all of a sudden I have a flat tire and I'm like, oh, got to deal with this.
Yeah.
And then I get to meet with my friends, right? So, it's happening on a regular basis. It's not something that is just, a one-off.
Yes.
And it extreme. It can be something extremely small, like a flat tire, to something, very profound where you're dealing with, a challenge that's happening for a longer period of time.
That is so true. I would agree that we are being tested on a daily basis, but I would like to share that I think one of the biggest moments in my life that have really tested my resilience was the loss of my father. That was a total shock. Like we were just texting like 2 days before he passed away. And then I thought, that was very difficult for me to go through, but in a way, I was able to come out of it stronger and better because I was able to deal with my grief, not belittling what I was feeling, but accepting it and going through the process. I think that's one way of becoming stronger, right? Like just go through it, and it will pass. How about Razin?
No, I think sometimes whenever a problem happens like a death or in your case, a flat tire or something, the question to ask is, what's the worst can happen?
Yes.
Okay. And you identify what's the worst can happen. I've lost my dad. And can I live with it? The answer is yes. One day he's going to go anyway. And suddenly you realize that it's not the end of the world. And then what can I do to minimize the problem? Now, death-wise, you cannot bring him back, but you can minimize the problem by saying, I had my father for 50 years or however old you're alive, because he's older than you, and it was never mine.
Yeah.
I got it as a gift from God, and I got the benefit of his mentorship, his guidance, his love.
Yes.
And if he had lived longer, maybe he would have suffered. So you find ways to minimize the danger of the problem that's already happened, and that allows you to then be able to cope better because you
Yes.
know the worst comes to worst. I'm not going to die. I'm going to live with it and recover in some way. And then, of course, move to the next step of how do you turn a minus into a plus and find out what can we do for his legacy. You know, in my wife's case, my kids raised funds for helping another mother not die.
Yes.
So they were able to use that experience to help somebody else and make meaning out of it.
Yes.
So you turn again a minus into a plus, right?
That is a wonderful way of putting it, right? That turning a minus into a plus.
So minus is this. All you do
Yes.
is just put a fit like one line there.
Yes. And when you're out of it, it makes there is a certain joy that would tell you, hey, I have surpassed this. And you're able to share your experience with others. And for you, Azim, you have mentioned that, of course, with the recent loss of your wife, you were able to go through the process as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, looking at all the positive things that happen around it, of course, it's very, very hard to lose somebody you've been with about for 40 years. But, looking at the period in which she was sick, the kids were sleeping with her 24/7, the bond they created by that, not only the bond with her, but between the two of them, brother and sister.
Yes.
Yeah. And also then, many experiences they had of, using this experience to collect money to help another mother in the future.
Yes.
And then at the end, my wife was suffering so much that you don't want her to suffer anymore.
Yes.
Because rather, you won't want her to live longer just for the sake of living longer like a vegetable, right?
True.
So the main thing is to try to process in the best possible way you can to go forward. And now what do you do going forward in her honor and use the benefit to help her soul have a smooth journey?
That's fantastic. Earlier, Farzana, you mentioned resilience to you is practice.
Yeah.
What are the habits that you do every day to make sure that you are resilient through small and big
That's
difficulties?
a great question, Charie. And, honestly, I don't even know if I have all the right words, to be honest. I think, you look at your day and you take on the challenge as it comes, right?
Yes.
You're going to have days that there's absolutely it's smooth sailing. Everything's fine. Everything's working out. And even if you think it's a problem, you just know how to just move with the day,
Yeah.
right? And you cope and you just move forward. I think, it's thinking through, and like Azim said, it's like taking a step at a time.
Yeah.
You're changing things into a positive. Yes, I had this challenge. Oh, it's okay. I can fix it with this.
Yeah.
And it's, no big deal. It took an extra half an hour of my day. What's the big deal? That half an hour I got to spend doing this instead of doing that, right? And I think just day to day, you just find these amazing, just comforts in yourself. And
Yes.
I think a lot of that is within you. You are the person that you are is what's going to bring out what your day is going to look like.
Yes.
And so you just continue to go. I think when you're dealing with bigger challenges like loss, mental health issues in families, helping other families that are going through a lot, that's inner strength.
True.
Inner strength of saying, I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to be that person who is going to say, oh, you could have done this better, or you should do this. Instead, just be that person to say, I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
And you're taking off a completely different hat.
Yes.
Because as a human, you want to fix
Correct.
all the time. But resilience comes from also saying, I can be the person who can stand and listen
Yeah.
and walk them through the process.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that we've learned from Azim as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a matter of perspective, the way you see things. There are different sides of a story or a circumstance, right? Whatever happens to you, you can choose to complain about it, or you can choose to be thankful for the experience, right? Yeah, and the way that you put it, it's not just the challenge to yourself, but the challenge to the people around you that allows you to practice resilience. What do you say to this, Azim?
No, I agree. I think, I think Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So how you look at a problem or a challenge or a loss or whatever changes the outcome, right? In terms of your processing. That's number one. Number two is, what are the steps I'm going to be taking to overcome this problem? And once you've identified the worst scenario and you say the worst scenario is bad, but it's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
Okay, my now goal is to how to minimize that worst scenario and then taking steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can take, which are in my power to minimize the problem, and then go into action pronto.
Yes.
Right away, right?
Yes.
Because then your whole modus operandi is not about worrying, because, there's a research that 95% of what you worry about never happens.
True.
But what kills you is all the fabrication of what about this? What about this? What if this happens?
Yeah.
But instead of doing all that, you say, this is my problem, and these are my steps to take to minimize it, and I'm going to go into action to minimize it. And that action makes you go away from your worry and your problem and your thing, and that translates into resilience, because now you can see I'm slowly and steadily making it a little bit better, and through my action, I will hopefully recover totally.
Yeah. I would like to elaborate on your point that you have to take action immediately. Do not wait. Just take action immediately, right? So, because when yes, you feel sad, you would just want to wallow in self-pity. You would just want to just relax for 2 days. That's different. But if you want to take action, I just got to get up, dress up, and show up.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree, Charie. I think, it is important to take time.
Yes.
Because you need to be able to process. For you to get up and show up, you've got to process. So absolutely, I wouldn't say don't take the time to do that, but don't take too long to do that.
True.
Because when you take too long to do that, then you're sitting in that same space of wallowing and feeling bad and being like, what if this, what if that? Instead, do your what ifs.
Yes.
So make them shorter and then bounce back.
Oh, I love that. Let's go to bouncing back. What's the beauty in bouncing back? Azim.
Yeah, so before we talk about bouncing back, just
Yes.
to finish off what you just said, in the list that you have to do, the
Yes.
7 things you need to do.
Yeah.
Once you start crossing each one,
Yes.
you feel, wow, I'm crossing something,
Oh.
and I know I'm getting to my outcome that I want.
Yeah.
And that crossing, the fact that just crossing something
Yeah.
makes you feel I'm taking action and not being passive and not wallowing in self-pity, right?
Correct. Yes.
So bouncing back bigger and stronger, I think it's I share this example, in the master class, that when I was a young kid in Tanzania, my parents moved from one area of town to another area, and I was a 10-year-old kid, having friends in one area and no friends in the other area. And so one day I'm walking in the streets to look for some friends who are my age, and I see some people playing soccer, and I said, can I play with you? And they said, come. And I started playing, and after a few minutes, they say, I don't think you know how to play. Just sit out. So I was sulking for a few days, and then
Yes.
my uncle said, what's wrong with you? And then it made me realize that I have a choice to overcome this problem. And the choice was to become better at soccer. So I learned about soccer. It took me a few years, but I got better. And I started playing with them. I became the captain. I traveled many cities. No big deal. I won trophies. No big deal. I came to Canada again, met friends, traveled. The big deal was my son was born. I became his coach in soccer. We are best friends right now.
Yeah.
Every time I phone him, we talk about soccer. So an incident that happened at 10-year-old, which could have been destroyed my confidence and my friendship and my social skills, made it much better for me, for my health, exercise, for my making friends, my travel, as well as eventually the biggest gift was the bond I had with my son through the game of soccer. So an example of bouncing back bigger and stronger
Yes.
by taking action. If I'd wallowed in self-pity, then I don't have any friends. And my uncle who told me, are you going to sulk all your life?
Yeah.
I mean, we realized the sulking is not going to sort anything.
Correct.
So what action can I take? And that action became a big asset in the future.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And that you take it with you, for the rest of your
Even
life.
today, yes.
Yes. It's really the little actions that we do every single day that determine what happens to our future. But my question is what if you have a certain goal and you're doing your best every single day and nothing happens?
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Yes.
Because you just never know when that trigger will be, I did it.
Yes.
Right? Because you're not giving up. The minute you give up on your goal.
True. Yeah.
In my book, the latest book, Spark, Journey from Success to Significance, in the fable, the story where he talks about a Chinese bamboo tree.
Yeah.
It takes 4 years to grow a little bulb. In the 5th year, in 6 weeks, it grows 80 to 90 feet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in the 4 years, even nothing was happening, but the work was being done.
Yes.
The foundation was being done. You can't just sit back and do nothing and expect the 5th year things will happen.
Yes.
So as long as you're taking action, you're being wise, you're trying to tweak, you're self-correcting, you're getting feedback, you're evaluating, and gradually, if you're doing all those things, then you're laying the foundation for a long-term success. When I changed my career, I spoke 185 times the first year, made zero money. 187 times the next year, made zero money. Traveled to Sydney, to Paris, to Dallas. I printed my first book 10,000 hours. I couldn't put a book in the bookstore. But all these things were putting a foundation that made me better at what I do. Because if I hadn't gone through all that, I wouldn't be what I could do now. So there was an investment. It was not an expense.
Correct.
But we don't realize when it's happening because you feel I was almost giving up. Luckily, Mandino's book bounced on me like when I was giving up. And I realized he was going to commit suicide and I ended up selling 36 million copies at that time. And now it's sold 50 million. I said, if he can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
But the sign only came to me when I was giving up. So as you aspire, the universe conspires. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. You get many obstacles. And when you are giving up, then it gives you a sign. But if you miss the sign, then you might give up.
Charie, I want to add something. And it's something that I think Azim and I have had an opportunity to work in this leadership position where we were helping, families that aren't well off and are struggling. Right. And we always said we need to find the root of the problem. Right. And it brings me back to the plant, right? It's the root that's kind of growing and growing and growing, and all of a sudden it becomes something. And so when we were helping these families, they would say, oh, I have this challenge and this challenge. I'm like, okay, but what's really deep down that's causing this to happen? And sometimes it's just, I'm not educated enough, or I'm not, confident enough. Like it's all these different things. But once they realize what that root is, that's when they become like this flourishing, like amazing plant that just grows.
Correct, right? The goal is like a seed that you plant and you nourish it. There's sunlight, there's watering, etc. That it takes time to build. And then you just don't cut it when it's not bearing fruits, right? You have to wait. And I think you need to have patience to make sure that, okay, you're not giving up. You do not see immediate results right now, but keep on going, because I think that's part of resilience as well, right? Not seeing results immediately. You've got to wait until the fruits of your labor will come, right?
And also enjoying the process.
Yes.
Enjoying the process of working hard, being creative, finding solutions. All this increases your resilience, your capacity. Faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. If you don't use it, you lose it.
True.
Also, again, I mentioned about the processing. I had a client who went to buy a business out of country, and he lost the business, and it was very sad. So I told him what happened. He said, I lost the business. It was mine. I said to sign a check, but I was wishy-washy and somebody else got it. I said, who got it? He said, we had 3 bidders, 2 big bidders and 1 small. The small bidder got it. So even more upset. So I told him, is there something positive about it? And he was getting quite upset. I'm telling you, I lost a big deal. Anyway, so I told him eventually, what is stopping you to have a partnership with a small guy? So he's managing the business out of country. You don't have to keep going back and forth. And he said, I never thought about it, but I didn't push it because he was quite upset. So I left him alone. 3 weeks later, I'm in Zanzibar. And he's calling me in Zanzibar. He's saying, Azim, I'm here. I said, here where? He said, to the country I went to buy the business. I said, what are you doing there? He said, I've come to meet that small guy and offer him partnership like you told me. I said, great. Did he say yes? He said, yes. I said, oh, did you buy it? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, when I came here, I found another business even better. Now, if he had thought about, I've lost the deal and it's negative, he would never go back.
True.
But by going back, he actually found a better business. So it's how you look at a problem. If you look at a problem as negative, then, but if you look at a problem as positive, then you look for ways of what is so positive about this negative, and then things can start to change because your mindset has changed, right? Your paradigm.
Correct.
The glasses by which you see has changed, right?
Yes. So I like it when you mentioned it's your mindset. You've got to change the way you see things, and the things that you see change. Yeah, I remember that from Azim, of course. I've been asking the questions. What is special about this series is that you both will have an opportunity to ask us questions. Let's start with you, Farzana.
So I have a question. I have a few questions actually, but I'll start with one. I would really like to know if there was someone that you could think about in your life, either still here or that's passed away, that modeled that resilience. Who would that be, and what would you ask them today?
Oh, wow. That brings tears to my eyes because When you speak about resilience, I think the icon for me of resilience was my father. Through life, I have seen our life has been ups and downs, in all aspects. But my father never gave up. He always had that jolly attitude, like as if nothing happened. And he taught us, me and my sisters, the value of resilience, of being strong, of being flexible, of being adaptable. Whatever life brings me, bring it on, and I am able to overcome it. And he comes out smiling. In the middle of difficulties, he could still laugh. And I think he is my model for resilience. Of course, my mother too showed how resilience is to us. But my father was like the epitome of laughing through problems. So, and I love it. And I still hold within me, and I share it with my family. Really important.
For me, my grandfather left India when he was about 14, came to Africa, and, at that young age, he had to make connections and big. So for 40 odd years, he worked hard, and we were beginning to get some success. And at 62, he passed away.
Yeah.
Two or three things happened. By the time he passed away, we were just about getting some success as a family, in terms of our business and the family unity and all that. And so people said that he died impoverished because he did all the hard work and never benefited from it himself.
Mm-hmm.
I disagreed because I said, he had a mission to start a life, to create a family, and create a foundation for the family. Today, I'm traveling the world. I've been to 100 cities in 5 continents, spoken to more than million people. But I thank my grandfather. When he died, the local people in Tanzania did not allow his body to be carried in a hearse. They carried it by foot for about 2 or 3 miles to bury him. That was the respect they paid him. So for me, this is what my grandfather did for me, and of course for my family. The question I ask is, what am I going to do for my grandchildren?
Mm-hmm.
What legacy, what am I going to do? So the inspiration from him or what he did, not just about focusing on himself, but what am I going to create for the long term, not only just with my family, but the impact of the world from the gift God gave us, right? So this is where I saw resilience from a family member, and it inspires me to this day to realize that we all have a duty, an obligation to use our gift, the birthday gift we talked about in the masterclass, and we focus on that to create the highest impact, not only for your family, but the world at large.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Amazing. Yes. You have any more questions, Farzana?
Azim ask a question.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Azim.
So I think the question I would like you to ask you is that most of us, me including, everybody has a little room to improve, and we all want to make the highest optimum impact in our lives. And the question is, how do you go about achieving that impact, the optimum impact, and day by day keep improving?
Oh, wow. That's deep. I think I have learned that the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And when I was younger, I used to think that, hey, I'm already good enough. But now that I know better, I know more, I know that I am not there yet. There's always room to improve, and there's always room for me to be better. And I think what I do to ensure that I am on my way to improving is to listen, to get feedback, to learn from people whom I think I could learn from, who are better than me, like both of you. So I keep my eyes open. I make sure that I continue to read, improve myself, listen for feedback, feel what others are feeling, just keeping an open mind and making sure that I am true to my purpose. And I would like to say here that you, Azim, through the Ignite Your Spark Masterclass, has really helped me zero in on my ultimate purpose credo. And I think that is one way for me to make sure that, hey, focus on your purpose. There are so many things that I can do and cannot do. Just focus on your purpose, and there you can improve and make a positive impact.
Right?
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think one of the things that we definitely, multiple things that we've learned from Azim
Yeah.
is that room for improvement. And I think a lot of that is listening. But I think part of that is also taking the step back and feeling the confidence within you. Because if you don't feel like you can improve, or if you don't feel like you're good enough to do more, you're not going to do it.
True.
Right. And so, yes, absolutely. Learning, reading, learning from others, just making a mistake and learning from that mistake. So important.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's your way to improve. And so I think taking the step back and actually watching what's happening, listening to people, and changing how you see the world makes a bigger difference. That's my improvement, right? I can say that, like, we all grew up differently.
Yeah.
We learned from our parents. We said, yes, my parents did a fabulous job on, ABCD. They could have improved on, XYZ. That's where I'm going to improve with my children.
Yeah.
And again, leaving that legacy behind and saying, I want to continue to do the same thing for my family and for next generations. What am I going to be like as a grandparent?
Yeah.
Not that I want to do that anytime soon, but what am I going to be like?
Yes.
Right. And if I want to be that great grandparent, what is that going to look like? So you've got to keep moving on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. Both of you are spot on. One of the other things I would add to both of your points is learning to say no for a deeper yes.
Yes. Wow.
Saying no for a deeper yes. What's a deeper yes? It's using your birthday gift, using your one singular ultimate purpose credo, which you created in my purpose in the masterclass. And then for everything else, no, no, no. Because if you're saying yes to everything, you're going to be all over the place. Because if you have too many priorities, you have no priority.
Yeah.
You can have one priority. Yeah?
I absolutely have to agree.
Yeah.
And that is something I have learned from that master class.
Same.
Because I was yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. And then I started to be like, no, it's not that I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because I'm not seeing what's important for me in this anymore. I want, let me allow to be particular about how I'm going to make a difference.
Yes.
Right. And how I can continue to practice that credo for myself and to be able to do that. And certain things are just, no, this is not what's in my cards.
Correct.
But this one is.
Yeah. And what she said is not important for me. Actually, it's not important for me to create the optimal impact for others.
True.
So it's not selfish, it's selfless, because now you're coming in your best version, not your average version where you try to please everybody, but your best version to create the best impact that you're cut out to do in terms of your circumstances, in terms of your skill, in terms of who you are as a person. So sometimes we feel selfish that I'm saying no because it's all about me and I'm trying to just have my own fun and not. No, it's not about that. It's about it allows me to do better.
Yes.
Because this is where I play my best game.
Yes. Yeah. And that brings to mind what I have learned from Azim as well. Like, prioritize your priorities.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You got to know what are your priorities, right? And so you prioritize that. And if that does not align with your birthday gift and with your purpose, then say no to it.
Yeah.
And you become better and bigger.
Less becomes more.
Yes.
Less of important becomes more unimportant. So you focus on the vital few, not the trivial many.
Yeah.
Most people are in the trivial many and all over the place and being busy.
Yeah.
But it's a trap.
Yes.
So you want to change from the trap to the impact. Activity trap, activity impact.
Yes.
So it's all connected philosophies of the 5 elements, right?
Yes. Yeah. 5 elements
Spark.
of spark: service, purpose, activity, resilience, and knowing.
Attraction.
And
you said activity as attraction.
Yes, attraction. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Yeah, attraction. So
this is an attraction.
Yes.
What's big here, right?
Yes.
From the first class, then you joined the second class and became team members, and now you're
now
we're partners.
We're partners.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it.
So it's a step at a time.
How does it feel having us as partners?
Yeah, I mean, there is no one-man army.
It's funny how he picked women.
If you have one-man army, you're going to exhaust yourself.
Yes,
true.
Yes.
It's very true.
I think our second masterclass was better than the first masterclass because 2 of you were involved. We were able to do group work, and all this stuff. It was much better. Even our webinar was better when we had the team approach, right?
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the next Ignite Your Spark Masterclass. It
Absolutely.
might be in person,
Absolutely.
right?
Or
It might be for a select group who would like to do it with us.
with a
So,
company, with an organization who wants to be there in person, and
True.
it could be much more power, right? There's no such thing. I mean, Zoom is pretty okay, but
Yeah.
it's better than just audio.
Oh, for
But
sure.
live is live, right?
Yes.
The
I
spark.
see the feeling. I can only imagine, like they would feel the spark
Yeah.
within them and from others, just like what we're experiencing right now.
Your turn to ask the question.
My turn to ask the question. Yeah.
Can't let it get away, right?
No, of
Yes.
course not.
If there's one thing that you would do to ensure other people would learn from you on how you are being resilient, what is that?
Wow. One thing.
Yeah.
One thing I would do. You know, I think aside from showing and practicing, I would continue to talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about your challenges and how you bounced back.
Yes.
Because when you're out there in the world, you don't know who's been impacted in any situation.
Mhm.
And when you find another person that's actually gone through or been through something similar or even something small, you know, you feel like there's a connection. And that
Yes.
human connection again, so important.
Yes.
So important. So I think continuing to practice, really important, but talking about it and sharing your experience with bouncing back, even more important.
I love it.
No, I agree with Farzana. I think, with words, you can only preach.
Yeah.
With action, you teach. So people in your orbit, your family members, your close friends, the people who associate with you see
Yeah.
your action. I share this example. If you go to my garage, there are many books sitting there. They're not paying rent. They're cushy. I can't evict them. So, I spend all this money and now it's sitting there, right? So I share the struggle and I spoke 185 times the first year, 187 times the second year. My first book took me 10,000 hours. I couldn't put a book in the bookstore. I share that because that's what made who I became. But also when people, and she says, when people see that you are still not giving up and you're still excited and you still have the spark and you're not stopping. When I tell people I'm writing another book, they say, why would you write another book when you haven't, I said, well, I gave them the example of Vincent van Gogh, the Dutch painter. He was 27 when he started painting and 37 he passed away. Okay, 10 years. And he was depressed at the end. In his 10 years of his life, he only sold one painting for, I think, 400 francs or whatever. And he had done 2,000 paintings.
Yeah.
After he passed away, one of his paintings sold for like $481 billion US.
Yes.
So, it's you're putting in the work. You can be worried about how much money I'll make by putting this work, or that's not the real craft, right? The craft is that you're born to do a craft and you keep doing it. You putting, whether it's sales or sales after you die, that's immaterial.
Yes.
You're creating something that's transformational. And when you're creating, you're getting transformed.
True.
That's the beauty, right? When you're doing the work and you're seeing how the work is making you become a better person, a different person, a more evolved person, that in itself, as I mentioned in my 7 Steps to Lasting Happiness, Charie, we did this product podcast. Yeah. Happiness is not a destination.
Yes.
Happiness is a journey, right? So the journey of what you're doing, if it creates you happiness, keep doing it.
Exactly.
And don't worry about the outcome. If the more you focus on the process, the more you focus on the systems, the more you focus on the effort, the outcome will take care of itself. And the outcome is the doing, not the big, no, it's the becoming.
It's the become.
Are you becoming a better person?
Yes.
Are you becoming a more evolved person? It's not what you're achieving. Who are you becoming? Are you becoming the identity you created for yourself in the affirmation attraction? Yeah. This is my affirmation. This is what I want to become. And every day I'm doing something towards that. That in itself is the victory. I love this book, Elif Shafak's book, 40 Rules of Love, where she talks about one line, I'm paraphrasing, east, west, north, south. East, west, north, south. Doesn't matter where you're going. The journey is always the journey within. Yeah. Whether you go east, whether you go west, whether you go north, doesn't matter. Yeah. What are you going within while you're going there? What is the processing? If the processing is powerful, it's beautiful, it's inspiring, it's uplifting, the ride is uplifting,
Yeah.
regardless whether you're east or west.
True. Yeah. It's powerful. It's
is
really
true.
how you are within, right? Anything could happen around you, but how you react to it, how you see it, how you are inside is what matters most. And to answer my question earlier, like what is one thing you do to show how resilient you are? For me, I'll just become myself. I'll just be authentic, and that they will see how resilient I
Be yourself, everybody else is taken.
am.
Try to
Exactly.
be Charie, you'll be second best Charie.
Yeah.
Farzana will be second best Farzana.
Yeah.
And if you try to be Azim, you'll be second best because you can't be another person. And that's what people sometimes try to become like somebody else. And they spend their whole life never
Yes.
becoming. And even if they become, they're second best.
Agree.
Yeah.
But if you're yourself, you're the best version of yourself.
And it's easy and you're authentic, right? You're
Yes.
poised.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend to whatever, right? Because that's what God has made you the most perfect person.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to use it, then you lose it.
And I think God has made you as the person to be that person. There's never going to be someone identical to you.
Yes.
Right? You may have similar traits, you may have some similar personalities, you may have similar like ideas, but you're not the same.
Exactly.
So be authentic. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
the power.
Since Adam, the first creature,
Yeah.
there's nobody been like Charie.
Yes.
From now till eternity, there will not be another Charie.
Yeah.
Today, if you go to 2,000 universities, there may be, there's no Charie.
Yeah.
So you're unique, you're special, and you're very powerful. And if you become another person, you lose all that uniqueness, right?
Exactly.
So precisely, be yourself, and it's not easy to be yourself.
That's how great God is, making sure that there's no the same person.
Even twins look alike, but they don't think alike.
Oh, exactly. Any
Just
other
a little
questions there for you, Farzana?
Well, yeah, there's always questions. So I think the question I would have is when you are stuck in that rut of wallowing, how do you get yourself out?
Mm. Yeah. I pray. I can talk to God by myself, or I could speak aloud. I tell him how I feel. I pray. I just pour it out. When I feel so low, I take time to acknowledge my feelings, and I just pray and I ask him for guidance. Help me. And then a few moments after, I'm better. Like, okay, I'm done. I get up now. I am better. So that's how it is with me. My personal relationship with God is so important. And I think that's my anchor. That no matter what happens, I know that everything will be okay because I have him.
For me, if somebody puts me down or I'm feeling I'm in a rut, I go back to my affirmation. Who I want to become, what is my identity? My affirmation attraction, which I say with intensity, with crystal clarity, with feeling, with the frequency, and keep going back. This is who I want to become.
Yes.
Am I aligning my time, my energy, my effort, my organization towards that? If I am doing that and I'm in activity impact to get my affirmation attraction, then I know I'm going to be a living magnet. I will attract people, circumstances, and accident to make me achieve that.
Yeah.
So what am I being trapped in right now is either I'm away from my affirmation, either I'm not doing the activity which is aligned to my affirmations, and I haven't become a magnet. That's why I'm out of my orbit to create the identity which I want to create. And that's why I'm feeling the rut.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no rut because I know what I want.
Yeah.
I'm putting my time towards it. As we say, room for improvement, maybe I should look at it and say, what can I improve? What can I tweak in the way I'm going about my approach, right?
Yeah.
And that could be the way to get out of the rut because you're going back to the basics. Now, this sounds simple, but what's simple to do is simple not to do.
Yeah.
So most people don't do it.
Exactly.
Because if you think about it, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
But most people, if they have an affirmation, first of all, most people don't have an identity, what they want to create, a clarity.
Yeah.
And those who have it, one day they have it, one day they not have it, and they get reacting to this, reacting to that. But you only react when you're not properly focusing on your affirmation, when you're not properly focusing on the activities that you're supposed to do. That's when you try to tweak. And that should be your responsibility, and that should be your destiny, and that should be your power because you can do it.
Yes.
Because only you can do it, right? And so when you react to people's opinions and, we think everybody is thinking about us. He's thinking about me.
Not at
Nobody
all.
cares about. If you have a headache, you don't think about somebody
Not at
else.
all.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The people think about their headache. So we have to not worry about people's opinion
Yeah.
because they don't define who you are.
True.
People only define not who you are, but who they are, maybe in some cases, right?
Right.
The way you see the world is not how the world is. The way you see the world is how you are. So if you are, God loves us not because we are lovable. God loves us because He's love or she's love, right? And He loves everything. We have good, the bad, the indifferent. And no matter how much might man has to sin, God is a bigger might to forgive.
Right.
Because God is the most merciful, right?
Yeah.
So I think, coming back to what is in your circle of influence,
Yes.
not your circle of concern.
Yeah.
And what is in your circle of influence towards your focus, your goal.
Yeah.
The goal has to be clear, and the influence has to be the application, and the concern should be not your problem.
Got it. Beautiful. Well put. Yeah. Lots to think about. Yeah.
Said we were going to learn today.
We could go all day, but well, this has been great. Thank you so much, Farzana and Azim.
Thank you.
Any closing remarks from both of you?
I think today, what I would take away from our session is continuing to just keep that birthday gift in mind.
Yeah.
And continuing to practice that and continuing to say, I can improve. I know I can. Let me learn to continue doing that.
I love that. Azim.
For me, I think spark is an ocean. Like, the more you dig deeper, there's many, many layers. I mean, we did a masterclass for 66 days. I think it's just a start.
Yeah.
And as you keep talking about it, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And at the end of the day, it's not how quantity you do.
Yeah.
It's what you do, and you do it deeper.
Sure.
Rumi gives an example. This guy is digging holes for water, 200 holes, and he can't find water. Another guy comes, just digs one hole, but deep enough, and he finds water. So it's not the 200 things you dig, it's the one that you dig deeper.
Yeah.
So spark has to go deeper. Each item birthday gift has to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Affirmation attraction has to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Inverse paranoia mentality has to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more deeper you go, then you get a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like as natural as breathing. You drill and you drill and you drill, and it's as natural as breathing. So effortless and so natural, right? And then you say, okay, I've got, but we are far away from that yet.
Yes. Let's ignite our spark. Let's not just think it, but let's do it. Let's live it. Thank you, Azim and Farzana. I look forward to the next episode. If you like this episode, please share it with your friends or click that subscribe button so that you'll be notified each time we have a new episode here on Life Expressions. I'm Charie Ginete-Ilon, and with me are Azim, Jamal, and Farzana Kherani. Till next time, here on Life Expressions.